Amy. I have a very exciting reveal to make, and oh my gosh, it's like surreal when I got it and I could not believe, and it's only starting to sink in because I already bought this item for a week now, and here it is. Oh my goodness, this is my brand new pre-fall 2016 Caviar leather in the black color boy bag in the old medium size with Ruthenium hardware, and it's just so gorgeous and it smells incredibly new and incredibly good. As you can see, I've already removed the sticker in the front, but I guess I will be removing these too once I start using it. So everyone is referring it as being the soft caviar, and this caviar leather, this particular one came out well this year for the pre-fall season. It appears to be adjustable. I would not do it. Honestly, it's the right length already, and I know some people, those that are really tall, try to like move it up. And the way you open this bag is with this clasp here. It's a really lovely clasp. I love flat bags because of this reason, because I just love having like the ease of and quick access. And it opens like so. And I just want to show you the leather, how magnificent it is. So when you fold it, I mean, it is, you know, it is a flat bag. So when you sort of open it, you should see some creases, but it's not very bad on this one. And I attribute it to the softer caviar leather attributes, which I love. And I will talk a little bit about it. And so the inside also is lined in caviar leather. And mine has the black lining. It's not lined with leather, unlike a lot of the classic flaps, which is a good thing because it makes the bag a bit lighter, and it only has one slip pocket in the back. Mine is made in France. Just cannot believe that I finally own my own first Chanel bag again. And here's the chain. Love the chain detail. So let's dive right into like a little bit of storytelling and sort of like my thought process into getting this bag. Oh, and before I do that, I just want to thank a few individuals here on YouTube and on Instagram, my great friends, my great handbag friends. So in no particular order, I'm going to thank LV Lovers CC, Amy Jo, BT Channel, Thanks for All, Joy D Baxic MD, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, he knows who it is, and then as well as Bagaholic Stories, because all these people I've been, you know, trying to get their feedback on in general, like, you know, boy bags in general or like Chanel bags in general. And then of course Tiffany from BT Channel, so she has the exact same bag and she bought it way earlier because it was released in the US so much earlier than we did here in Canada. And she has the caramel color version, and it's just beautiful. I'm just so glad that she's one of those people who actually love the new leather, the new softer leather, and I was so relieved when I heard that. I will also share the dimensions of the bag. It is 10 inches across or just under, and the height is about 5.5 inches here, and then the width here, well, from here to here, not counting this, is about 3 inches. However, keep in mind that because this is the exterior dimension, so the actual capacity is a lot smaller because the bag ends kind of here, so it ends, you know, it ends here, and you know, it's pretty much got a good 1/2 inch less. And the thing is, that's not even the actual capacity of the bag, because the interior lining, the fabric, it doesn't actually go all the way to the bottom leather, which is a good thing because then it doesn't make your bag sag in a particular way, especially if, say, you have a heavier item here and a lighter item here. It won't sort of make it sag here. So yeah, so even though the actual dimensions of the old medium is quite generous, in terms of the actual capacity, it is a lot less. something to keep in mind when you look at boy bags. So the story goes, I bought and sold my very first Chanel bag in 2010. It's mostly because it wasn't as practical and as you know, user-friendly as I thought it would be at the time. I walked in blindly into Chanel store and I just decided right then and there, you know, whatever they showed me at the time, I liked it. I just bought it without doing too much research. All I knew was that caviar leather was supposed to be a little bit more carefree. That's all I knew. And you know, in terms of investment, yes, it was a regret because I bought the bag. It was probably half price from what it is now. Oh, by the way, it is a reissue bag in the caviar, black caviar, which was limited. You know, it was a limited edition at the time in the Ruthenium hardware. So the bag was extremely beautiful, and it was, you know, it kind of like, I don't know, it was love at first sight. I tried it. I was like, okay, I'll just get it. And it was, well, it was still surreal because it was still really, really expensive regardless, even though it is half the price of it is now. But I did not exactly regret, you know, selling it for the purpose, you know, for the money, getting back the money for the purpose that I used it for, because I went on the best trip of my life. And Michelle, if you're watching this, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, like, I mean, that was my first Chanel bag, and that's why I say that I've repurchased my very first Chanel again. So between then and now, I've never really thought about getting another Chanel bag, just because my first experience, not necessarily a bad experience, but I just felt like it was probably not as worth it. It's like such a large amount of money for one bag, and I, being more on the practical side, I just never thought about getting another one in my life until about Christmas time, or just before Christmas time last year. I started noticing that I wanted a Chanel bag again in my life. Possibly there are, you know, you guys and everyone on YouTube, you know, getting into Chanel, so that possibly also, you know, influenced me, of course. Anyway, during all these years, even though I have not really, you know, considered buying another Chanel, I have still, you know, I still appreciate it on other people. I still enjoy looking at other people wearing it. And when the very first boy bag came along in spring of 2012, I was like really, really intrigued and really love the look of it because it's super edgy. A little bit of history about boy bags. So not only is it, you know, kind of relatively new, only came out in 2012, it also is seasonal. So seasonal meaning that, you know, the actual sort of shape of it is exactly the same thing. The mechanism is exactly the same thing every year, except that you know, Chanel will change the leather, they will change the texture, they will change the colors of the hardware and the leather. They will come up with different designs. And I don't know exactly when they introduced the different sizes as well, but as far as I know, there's a smaller size. This is the old medium size, which is also called medium. There's a new medium, which is slightly taller, slightly sort of wider as well. And then there's supposed to be a large, which I've never seen, but I think it's super big. And I found out that the Caviar boy bags were gonna be released again this year. They said, you know, at the time they told me possibly the summer, possibly the fall. They didn't even know, so I was very impatiently waiting, but you know, nevertheless, all the classic flaps, the prices are just so outrageous. At least the boy bags, I know there's less, you know, leather material and all that, but at least it's still a Chanel. And to be honest, I may even have a preference for how, like, for carrying this kind of bag, just because it's so edgy. It goes with my style, it goes with what I wear every day. So I feel like getting this bag would be sort of, you know, cost per wear would be better, because I would probably be wanting to wear it more often. So you can imagine that during these few months from, you know, after Christmas to now, it was an excruciating time to wait, because not knowing exactly how it would actually look like, and also the fact that some other countries such as the US, our neighbor, you know, they got theirs released first, and I think they got theirs as early as April. And my goodness, this whole time when I see like pictures posted and people talking about it on TPF, and a lot of negativity actually floating around regarding the actual leather used on this Caviar boy bag, it just made me very nervous and also even more impatient, because I needed to see it in person to judge it for myself, of course. But hearing all these negativity actually made me very sad and not know whether I would actually end up with one. People described it on TPF as, you know, the leather being too thin, the color being too dull, gray, not saturated enough, matte, soft, which, you know, I would accept those two comments actually. That the bag was too light, not durable, won't hold its shape, and some people went as far as saying that it looked fake. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe all the comments that came about this bag. But when I saw it in person, it wasn't the case. In my opinion, this bag is gorgeous. The more I look at it, the more I fall in love with it. And the only thing I can say is that to each their own. Obviously, some people were expecting the same version that came out in 2014, which was with the shinier, harder Caviar. And at the time, they also released it in gold hardware, which would have been my most holy grail sort of combination. But I still love this bag nonetheless, because I know that I can get my next Chanel bag in gold hardware and black leather. So this one will just be my slightly edgier bag, one that I can wear a little bit more often, just because my outfits usually are a little bit more simple and just, you know, kind of like everyday t-shirt and jeans. Let's talk about the leather now. I don't know about you guys, but I think this bag looks extremely gorgeous. Yes, it is slightly more matte colored, depending on the lighting. When you go in natural lighting, it looks quite matte, and I really like the color. It actually looks more saturated, the black color in natural lighting. When you have lights like today in my room with different reflections, yes, it kind of appears slightly more dull and grayish even sometimes, but like I said, I'm okay with that. And also I feel like because of this property, it gives it a more edgy look. Now, as far as color goes, that's all I'm gonna say. But in terms of the appearance and the texture and like the quality of the leather, I think it's also perfectly fine. I know people don't like that it's a softer Caviar. They feel like it's as delicate as lambskin, but to be honest, lambskin is not really that delicate. If you take anything hard enough to scratch, either lambskin or even Caviar, I feel like, you know, it will still get damaged. And I feel like lambskin will show superficial scratches more readily, but it's more buffable, and I feel like it would probably behave slightly more close to lambskin in that regard. But because this is still textured, I feel like it will still hide the superficial scratches more easily. And especially I find that with it being softer, it's probably not as easily getting the dry look, if that makes any sense. Anyway, that's just, you know, that's just me thinking out loud. I don't know until I get to, you know, wear this baby a lot. Caviar is just also calfskin. It's just textured. They, you know, they make it so that it looks like Caviar in terms of the appearance. So yeah, I mean, in terms of like when people say that the leather is too thin, I mean, it is probably thinner because it's not as rigid, therefore being a little bit more flexible. And that's actually one thing that I really appreciate, because I feel like anything that is too hard, like the leathers that are too hard or any sort of material that's too hard, it starts hurting my shoulder. The bag starts, you know, being too hard to use. I feel like with the larger version, yes, it may look like it starts to soften up too quickly because, you know, being it larger with the softer, thinner leather per se, yes, it will start to give a little bit more. So I agree in a sense But if you're just looking to buy this size or the smallest size, I think it's completely fine, guys. I hope that the people who were sort of hesitant in getting this bag, because although they were waiting for a Caviar bag but saw that it was in this leather and read all those comments, I think you should give it another chance because it's not as bad as you think. In fact, I love it. And just so you know, Chanel comes up with a lot of different types of Caviar leather over the years. So as far as I know, there is matte Caviar, which is this one, I suppose. There is velvet Caviar, there is washed out Caviar, there is soft Caviar, there is hard Caviar, there's shiny Caviar. So there's different types of Caviar, and I even read somewhere that there were years where the Caviar leather felt like plasticky. So it really depends on what they came out with, and I feel like even Caviar leather is seasonal, if that makes sense, because they change it around. And I don't think that it's a quality issue per se. I think they just want to be slightly more innovative and less boring, and so they just come up with different textures every now and then. In terms of structure, see, I'm trying to press it. It's not really giving out. I mean, yes, it is a little bit, you know, where it doesn't have more of the frames to hold it. Yes, it's a little bit more squishy, and here too. But all leather will soften up over time, whether it's harder Caviar or not, or just the regular smooth calfskin or the lambskin. All leather, with no exception, will soften over time. It's just a matter of, I guess, how long it takes. And as long as you take care of your items, which I always do, and I know a lot of you do, it won't be a problem. How I came about getting this bag, it's kind of a long story too. So eventually I found out that our pre-fall collection will come out on June the 8th. Unfortunately, in Vancouver, they don't hold any bags for any client for that matter. So if you want to get it, you gotta be there first. And for us also in Vancouver, they decided to relocate the Chanel store and also expand it to the lower floor. And so we all knew, we all received emails that they were gonna reopen their big store on June the 8th as well, which coincides with the same day where the pre-fall collection came out. And so I just knew I had to line up, because there is no other way, I feel, that I would even have the chance to get to see it or to buy it. I was lucky enough that I went there early enough. Like, it wasn't super early, but it was actually early enough that I only waited maybe 15 to 20 minutes before I got in. And once I got in, I spotted my essay, and she knew exactly which one I wanted because I've been talking about it for the last, I don't know, at least the last few months. And so she took one out for me. I inspected it. I pretty much stayed in the store for like a good 45 minutes just trying it out and just really contemplating whether I should be grabbing this one, or there was actually also the lambskin version with gold hardware, which was stunning. Because you guys know I really want my gold hardware. I really, really, really wish that this was also made in the brushed gold, but not brushed gold, in the aged gold. But regardless, I decided for, you know, to keep this one because at the time when I tried it on, I just felt better with this one. As you can imagine, the store was also very, very busy. Even though there was a lineup and they were only letting, you know, a certain number of people in, the store was extremely busy. All the essays, they were extremely busy. They had no time to even like sort of help you, give you advice and whatnot. They were literally just being called left and right just to like get whatever bags that their customers wanted to see. It was a little bit chaotic and actually very stressful. I did not like shopping on that day, even though I knew I had no choice if I wanted to get this bag, because it was literally sold out by probably by the evening. It was probably sold out. After I came home, I felt like, even though I was very happy that I got one, I was kind of not as excited as I should be, because when I got my trapeze, I was excited. I was ecstatic that I got my trapeze finally. So I felt like there's something wrong, that you know, why did I not have the same feeling with this bag? It's getting heavy. I needed to go back to the store to have a second look, because I needed to be sure that I'm okay with this color hardware, even though it wasn't really what I had, you know, wished initially. This leather I completely love, but like the hardware I was not, it's not that I was not convinced, but I just would rather have it in gold, if that makes sense. So I went back and Amy Jo came with me. That was also the first time that I met her in person. Hey babe. And I tried on the lambskin gold hardware boy bag again. Unfortunately, they only had it in new medium. And I was going back and forth because I could not get over the gold hardware. It was so gorgeous. But the new medium size was just a little bit scary. It was very, you know, it was a lot bigger than this. It was a bit tall, maybe not a lot, but it was taller and then it was wider. I believe maybe the side is similar, but it was big enough that I felt like it was, you know, I was almost not able to pull it off because it was looking a little bit too big on me. And I felt like because it's such a boxy shape, I felt like the corners would, you know, for sure I will get it bumped somewhere. Whereas with this one, I feel like it's small enough that I can sort of like, you know, do this. I know that one day I will get a gold hardware Chanel bag, you know, I don't know when, but it will happen. And this will just be my more sort of casual, more edgy boy bag that I can, you know, get to use more often since it's so much easier to match with my different outfits. So there you have it. This is my story. I know it's a lot of rambling. Hope you guys enjoy my story and sort of like all my thought process with, you know, picking this bag. Just wanted to show you also. People are really used to the leather being really puffy and all that, and that, you know, there's no, I guess they feel like this is looking like it has wear and tear already, which is, you know, I think it's just different. It's just a matter of preference, obviously. With the softer leather, I feel like because these quilts are not as puffy, over time it will just not flatten as much, which I feel like is a good thing. If you guys have questions regarding this leather or regarding this bag, let me know. I'm still trying to play around with, you know, trying to fit different things in it because you guys know I have very bulky items. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Amy and I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye! It was never really an investment purpose why I bought my bags, or as far as my collection goes right now. So if I had to choose one,